Hi everyone, my name is Jenna and this is Learn Academic English. On this channel, I help English learners level up their English, especially for school and work. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you 4 ways in which Brazilian Portuguese speakers can improve their English pronunciation. You might be thinking, why is she talking about how Brazilian Portuguese speakers can improve their English? Well, that's because I'm married to a Brazilian and I've been spending time with Brazilians for more than 20 years. In fact, now that I think about it, it's been 25 years. I also spend time with Brazilians in my online classes. And through those experiences, I've noticed some ways in which people who speak Brazilian Portuguese make pronunciation mistakes in English. Before we get into these, I do want to mention that having an accent is totally fine. I'm not trying to tell people that they should get rid of their accent. However, when you are learning a language, it's important to try to improve your pronunciation for 2 reasons. The first one is that it just makes it easier for people to understand you and converse with you. When your pronunciation is clear and your accent is not super heavy, it just increases your fluency and makes the listener feel more comfortable. The second reason is that when people make pronunciation mistakes, it can sometimes lead to misunderstanding. And for that reason, it's also important to improve your pronunciation just to make it easier for people to understand you and to make your speaking more clear. So again, having an accent is totally normal. If you're learning English as a second language, you're probably gonna have some kind of accent, and that's totally fine. But it's always a good idea to work on pronunciation so that your speaking is more clear and easy for people to understand. I also want to mention that even if Brazilian Portuguese is not your first language, you can benefit from this lesson about English pronunciation. The first one is a rule that is really quite basic. I'm sure that you already know it, but in English, when we have an R at the beginning of a word, or in the middle of a word, it's gonna sound like R. It doesn't sound like an H. So in Portuguese, most people will pronounce the R at the beginning of the word like the English H. For example, the name Rodrigo, right? But in English, when we have an R at the beginning of the word, it sounds like R. So just be careful, double check that when you say words that start with an R, you say it with an R and not an H. Again, this is a basic rule. It's just a rule of understanding the spelling and sound connection in English, but you do want to be careful with that, especially because if you make a mistake in that, it is going to be hard for the other person to understand you, because in English we have no relationship between H and R. For example, with the word rug and hug. All right, now that we know that basic one, we can move on to one that is quite tricky. This is the difference between the vowels e and a. This is quite tricky for most people from Brazil, and it sometimes can lead to a little bit of confusion. Let's check. The vowel e is slightly open. It's made with the tongue in the front of the mouth, but it's a little bit low. So you're going to say eh. This is the sound in the word bet or help. Eh. The second vowel is the vowel a, and this vowel is much more open. Watch. A. You can see that my mouth opens quite a lot. Now, when we're speaking fast, we don't need to open our mouth quite so much, but the difference between e and a is noticeable to native speakers. A is the sound in cat and bad. So let's take a look at some example words. The first one is the man's name, Greg. Now notice that this is with the vowel e, Greg. It should not be pronounced Greg. It's Greg.
Greg.
Okay, the next one is the word pan. Pan. Now be careful, when we say pan, we need to make the ah sound with the mouth quite open. Ah. Be careful that this doesn't sound like pen, like what you write with. Listen to the difference. Pen, pan, pan. This one is with the mouth more open. Okay, let's try two words that might be tricky here. The first one is pest. Pest. For example, a cockroach is a pest. And the second one, past. Past. Try to make the second one with the mouth more open. Pest, past. Can you make the difference? Pest, past. If you would like to practice this vowel more, I have a whole video about the vowel ah, and I'll link it above. Okay, next, let's look at the consonant T in English. Now, the consonant T can pose a few problems for most English learners, but for people who speak Brazilian Portuguese, the T plus vowel can be especially problematic because in many words in Portuguese, the T sounds like ch, but in English, it doesn't sound like ch, it sounds like t, t. Notice that the consonant T is a stop that is made by putting the tongue on the alveolar ridge. That's the little ridge that you have that's behind your front teeth. So you can take your tongue and put your tongue behind your front teeth and then move your tongue along that ridge. Now you're going to put your tongue there and say t, t, t. The T does not sound like ch, it sounds like t. For example, in the word Tuesday, Tuesday. Be careful not to say Tuesday, Tuesday. Now, if you're not sure about this, try looking in the mirror and notice what your lips do. Watch me. Tuesday, t, t, t. It's not ch. So you can see that with ch, the mouth is more circular. Tuesday, that's the good one. The wrong pronunciation is Tuesday. Now, before I go on, I do want to mention that there are some dialects of English in which native speakers actually say this like ch in some British English dialects. But in many other dialects, including North American English, we say Tuesday, not Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
Okay, let's try a couple more words. Two, 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 not chew, two. And ticket, ticket, not chicket, ticket, ticket. Okay, next, let's take a very quick look at the T at the end of the word because this is also tricky for most Brazilian Portuguese speakers. The T at the end of the word has two possible pronunciations in North American English. And I'm going to show you the more standard or maybe the more careful pronunciation, which is that the T sounds the same at the beginning and end of the word. Ticket, 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 ticket. Or in this word here, fit, fit, not fitch, fit. But the more common pronunciation, the way that native speakers usually say these words, is with a stop that is not released. So listen, ticket, ticket. What happens there is that my tongue goes to the place, but it doesn't release the air. Ticket. Can you hear that? Ticket. Where is my ticket? Or in this word, fit. Fit. So you can pronounce it either way. You can pronounce it with a clear T, like ticket, or fit, or you can pronounce it with an unreleased sound, ticket or fit. But be careful not to pronounce these words with a ch sound at the end. For example, it's not correct to say fitch. If that is pronounced that way, it might be confusing for the listener. Okay? And finally, let's go on to vowel plus L. Now, the L that comes at the end of a syllable, so vowel plus L, is made completely differently in English. In Portuguese, people tend to pronounce the L at the end of a syllable like oo, but in English, it is pronounced as L. What happens here is that the tongue goes to that same ridge that I was talking about before. Oh, oh. If you look in the mirror, you can actually see your tongue going there. Oh, not ooh. Oh. And you can also notice that the mouth shape is totally different. Oh, as in Brazil. Brazil. The way that we pronounce the country in English is Brazil, not Brazil.
I'm supposed to go to Brazil next week.
Brazil. Notice the shape of the mouth. Oh, okay? Let's try a couple more. Full, not full. Full. There's no oo here. There's no W, no oo sound. Instead, it is with the tongue on the ridge, full, full, okay? And the last one, little, little, not little, little, little. Now here you can pronounce the T with a clear T, or you can pronounce it with the flap, which is like a fast D in English, little or little. But not little. It's little. Oh.
Little by little.
Now, these differences in sounds might not seem important, but for a native speaker of English, they are important for understanding. So, for example, with the vowels e and a, maybe to some people they sound the same, but to native English speakers, they do sound different. So, if you want to improve your English, it's important to know the pronunciation rules and, most importantly, to keep practicing. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll leave more examples below so that you can practice your pronunciation at home. Remember that I offer online live classes, and I help my students with pronunciation and other aspects of English. If you're interested in joining my classes, please check the information in the description box below. I hope to see you back here again soon, and as always, take care.